All right, we might get started. It feels a bit funny having a microphone and then this quite intimate audience. We've got a few more books, so I hope we're not doing the wrong thing starting right on time, but let's respect everybody who is here. And we've got lots of wonderful storytelling ahead for you, so we don't want to miss out on any opportunity to do that. So welcome to Bendigo Library. My name's Sophie Mays and I'm the Manager of Engagement for Goldfields Libraries. We have 17 libraries across 4 local government areas, and this is our biggest. Happy International Women's Day, and thank you for coming tonight. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the Dja people as the traditional custodians of this land, and of course the original storytellers and wisdom holders. And we feel quite an affinity with traditional cultures in library land because we feel like we're in partnership with them holding stories and spaces for conversations. Tonight I've got with me Sophie Mays, who is a Year 11 student here in Bendigo and very passionate about women in leadership, gender equality and the safety and empowerment of women. And with our guest speaker here, Ma Aye Paw, tonight's focus is going to be on young women in leadership, and so we felt it was appropriate to have a young woman helping to host the session. So Sophie's here to help host. Thanks, Sophie. And I'm so grateful and delighted to Ma Paw for coming tonight and being open to sharing your story and also your thoughts on the importance of International Women's Day. Ma Paw arrived in Australia from Myanmar in 2016 with her parents as a refugee, and she's a member of the Karen community, and she's going to tell you a bit more about their culture, but very quickly, they're the Indigenous people of Eastern Burma, Myanmar and Western Thailand. She's a refugee project worker at Bendigo Community Health Services and a multicultural community advocate at Loddon Mallee Women's Health. And she was the City of Greater Bendigo's Young Citizen of the Year in 2021 and a member of the city's very successful Intercultural Ambassadors program from 2019 to 2021. So we at the library have had a lot to do with the Intercultural Ambassadors, and we have a wonderful relationship with multicultural communities. So once again, Ma Paw, thank you and welcome. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself in your own words?
Thanks, Lucy. First of all, before I start, I talk about myself, I would like to acknowledge and extend my appreciation to the Dja people, the traditional owners of the land that we are standing on and holding the event this evening. I pay my respect to their leaders and elders, past, present, and emerging. Good afternoon, everyone, and good afternoon, people who are tuning from through live. I also would like to thank Chris for reaching out to me, inviting me to the event, and thanks Lucy for helping me out throughout preparation. And thanks Sophie, coming and join us in this conversation. It's a great be part of this International Women's Days event. Happy International Women's Days to you all. Yes. My name is Ma Paw. I work for Bendigo Community Services as refugee project workers. It's been 2 years now. Be working with this organization and with Women's Loddon Mallee 1 day a week. It's about 9 months now. I'm also one of KOB committee member. So my role is as a treasurer. Also underneath KOB, Correct Organization of Bendigo, we also run our Korean language school. I'm a secretary for the school. We reopened our language school on Saturday. Yeah, that's me. Thank you.
That's such an incredible list of achievements for somebody who arrived in a new country, culture and language only 5 years ago. Can you tell us a little bit more about your journey that has led you into some of these roles and involvements as a community leader?
Thank you. Yes, when I arrived in Barigo, because we have a Korean organization, which is Korean Social Support Foundation. I'm volunteer my work there, my times there, and I was nominated as a treasurer as well for that organization. And later on, I was I was nominated as a treasurer for the KOB organization and the same 2018. And I start, I'm, my, I studied at very good tape at the same time. And as much as I could, I support my community. So in the 2019, I volunteered, no, not, 2019. I also did diploma, serve for one health assistance and volunteer my times with medical community services. And at the end of the years, there's job opportunity come out, and then I applied for the job, and then lucky enough, I got the job. And I'm also participant in the events like support my community when we have significant festivals such as New Year's or restart ceremony. So I'm kind of active members. Since I start work for medical community services, my supervisor is also my mentor, and I could say she is my guiding star. Without her, I'm not here today. Yeah, she's the one who encouraged me to do different things, to step off my comfort zone. So as intercultural ambassador programs, she's the one who encouraged me to apply for, because she said, don't worry, I will be beside you, I will support you. Yeah, so I go for it.
Do you want to, she's not here tonight, but she might be live streaming or watching later. Do you want to say thank you and name her?
From the bottom of my heart, I would like to say thank you so much, Kai Gray.
That's beautiful. So if I can take you back a little bit, Ma Aye Paw, can you tell us a bit more about your experiences in the very beginning when you had just arrived in Bendigo in Australia?
Yeah, sure. I was 20 years old when I arrived in Bendigo, Australia. I was so happy, and it felt wonderful to have a whole family together again, as my older brother and older sisters, they already settled down here in Bendigo. Yes, there's also challenges for to me, because it's new environment, everything new, like culture, lifestyle, and health system or health education system here. Yeah, it's a take a long time to adapt my life here to live as a normal people today.
Thank you. And can you tell us a bit more about what normal was like for you back home before you arrived?
I was born in refugee camp and grew up in refugee camp. So I spent my life 20 years in in a refugee camp. Yeah, because in camp we don't have much opportunity. We couldn't go out because I'm also was born from a family of educated and a poor family background. Sorry. But when I was little, childhood, little, don't know much about the world. So we live, I live happily, like playing and eat and I go to school. That's all. But when I turned to teenager, sorry.
Take your time.
Actually, I shouldn't mention this because I know I'm gonna cry if I talk about this. But I'm this sorry. Yeah, when I turned a teenager, life was my childhood was tough and rough because like financial crisis, financial problem. I experienced poverty and family domestic violence. Say, cause sorry, I'm gonna say a bit about my parents, but it was past. We past cannot be changed, but I'm happy today. I could support them. I could support them back. At that time, because um, we we are from an educated family background, so when the problem comes, we don't have like solution to solve the problems. It's really hard about my family situation that I will talk this all, but I'm not continue to talk about my family anymore. Yeah, so I finished high school when I lived in a refugee camp, and also finished first year of the college. The course that I took is economy course. So I attended the college, which is leadership and management training college, something like that. Yeah, LMTC. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing your story with such braveness and vulnerability. Because when we hear refugees talk about the opportunities and the freedom, it doesn't mean in our own worldview or experiences in a privileged country, it might not mean so much unless we understand the background that helps us to understand why that matters so much, and particularly pertinent and important on International Women's Day to really understand what International Women's Day can be all about for women from all over the world. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I also would like to add a situation about our refugee camp. Can I add more?
Please do.
Yes. I could imagine if I would live in refugee camp till today. I think I'm gonna end up like not know about. I'm not sure about my future. Because we don't have much opportunity. We couldn't go out. Limited like ratio, the food, the supply, also education. Even we finish high school or college, it's well not recognized as in Thailand or Burma. We couldn't use our certificates for anything, but we can use only in the camp. Yeah. And also now the situation in refugee case gets more harder and harder.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Ma Aye Paw, and thank you also for involving me in this conversation. It's really important to get more awareness and understanding of this sort of thing and these experiences. So thank you for sharing. Can you tell us a bit more about the Karen culture and community?
Yes, thank you. Yes. So we are originally from Myanmar, as known as Burma as well. We are the. But when I was younger, in middle school and high school, I learned about we are the second largest ethnicity in the Burma. But you're gonna see in the video, which is a third largest in Myanmar. But anyway, but I might confuse myself. Sorry. Yes, we have like 11 tribes in our Korean ethnicity. In Beligo, we have a Korean population around 3,000 now, I think. Probably more than that because more people from different area and city moved to Beligo. It's also it's I think because of job opportunity or the house price. Yeah. Yes, we the significant festival that we celebrate in Bendigo, such as Korean New Year ceremony and the restart ceremony. We Korean people are we love peaceful. We love sharing things, like we could and we could food and share it with our friends and family member. Yeah, also we have a beautiful culture like dancing that you may have seen before. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. We do have a little video now that will explain a bit more. It's made by the Korean community in Bendigo, and it shows a bit about the culture.
What's that? Who are you? Where did you come from? To answer this question, we first have to back up a bit, all the way back to here. The Korean people are the third largest of 12 ethnic groups residing in modern-day Myanmar, the largest being Burma, generally known as Burmese. During World War II, the Japanese invaded, helping to shift the balance of power to the Burmese. We've been fighting for peace in our own little slice of Myanmar ever since. The Korean conflict is one of the world's largest running civil war and have forced hundreds of thousands of Koreans from their home.
My parents come from Burma and they fled Burma because of the civil war, so I was end up born in refugee camp, the camp it survived.
We don't have time to play the whole thing. We've got another little clip, but we would really encourage you to look at this in your own time. It's called We Are Korean, and you can find it on YouTube.
We are Korean. We are fun-loving, peaceful people. We love playing sport, fishing. We love practicing culture and growing, cooking, and sharing food.
Our aim is just to keep our culture and tradition alive again. But here it doesn't really matter what gender you are, what people you can be anyone you want to be if you try. This is what I love about Bendigo. This is what I love about my life now. I can be anyone I want to be.
We are Korean and we are home.
I love that quote, I can be who I want to be. What does it mean to you to be who you want to be?
To me, it doesn't matter what gender you are. Actually, I could say, because those who are in this country, it's a great opportunity. There's a lot of great opportunities. So I would like to encourage and motivate young people, especially young people who are studying right now. Yeah, what career you want to choose, what lifestyle would you want to choose, you have freedom to choose to be whatever anywhere you can be.
Wow, that's really beautiful. You were recognized last year in Bendigo as the Young Citizen of the Year. What an incredible achievement. Can you tell us a bit more about what that meant to you and what you did in your role?
Well, thanks for the question. Yes, I'm so proud of myself as I'm the first Korean young people that achieved this award. So I represent my community. So I'm so proud of myself. With this role, I was invited to attend the event and then make a speech, and also attend citizenship ceremony as a Young Citizen of the Year. I also gained a lot of connection and gain more trust with my community. It's a great outcome, as well as the wider community as well.
That's fabulous. I'll pass on to Mum now.
Thank you. And Ma Aye Paw, you also played an important role during the pandemic with your community, helping them to understand COVID-related updates and information. Can you tell us a bit more about what you did in that role?
Yes, thanks. Actually, with this with all the works with COVID information, it's a part of my job with Bendigo Community Services. Actually, I'm the one who are on the script, but behind the scene, there's my co-college and the project worker. We work together. We create the script because during the pandemic, we couldn't go out and share the information. So we came out with the idea to make a video. So as we can share through media platform such as Facebook and YouTube. That's why that's why I'm involved, and also help you with translate information resource.
Fantastic. Such an important role. Thank you.
Thank you.
And you were also involved in the Greater Bendigo Intercultural Ambassadors Program for the last 2 years. Can you tell us a bit more about that experience, what the ambassadors, what cultures they represented, and also what sorts of activities you were involved in?
With Intercultural Ambassador Program, we had 10 people of a group of 10 people. We represented different community, like such as from Chinese community, Filipino community, and Malaysia, Mexican, French, Afghan, and we attend the meeting. Some of our fellow intercultural members, they are part of a broader community member, and also part of city council meeting advocate teams. We have. We built a strong relationship. We are like a family. We shall encourage and cherish each other achievements. We support one another. Even we finish our role as an intercultural ambassador, we still connected with each other. During the program, we attend a training. We create events. Probably some of you might attend or not. Which called International Games Day. We did in the library. Also we attend Interfaith Dinner. With these 10 people, a group of 10 people, I'm the youngest one. At the beginning, I was so nervous. Because I don't have much knowledge. I think I couldn't be here. I shouldn't be here. Should be somewhere else. But my fellow intercultural resident they welcome me and encouraging. They also guiding me. So especially I would like to thankful to my project officers. She's the one choosing me and to be part of this the group.
Fantastic. What an amazing experience. And as a partner, we also really appreciated that opportunity to work with the intercultural ambassadors and run the International Games Day, amongst other things, to learn a bit more about how we can make libraries more welcoming and accessible for communities who are newly arrived migrants or have been here for longer as well.
The other thing we create, there's a video was made by our intercultural ambassador. The name of the song is You and I. So if we have time, we watch it at the end of this event.
Yeah, we're going to show it to you at the end of tonight. I should just say, please start thinking of questions, because we are going to have an opportunity to ask Ma Aye Paw some questions at the end. So when we were preparing for tonight, I suggested to Ma Aye Paw that we needed to talk about leadership and community leadership, because she's doing so many amazing things in leadership. And she said to me, I don't think I'm really a community leader yet. And so let's turn to that question, because I don't know if you would agree with that, having heard what you've heard so far, but I wasn't quite convinced myself. Can you tell us a bit more about you've already told us some of your roles in the community, but what was the inspiration for you to get involved and say yes to all these opportunities that would come your way? Because for me, that's really the definition of a community leader, somebody who says yes and gets involved in their community.
Yes, thanks for the question. I think it's something that I'm passionate of about. Before I came here, I'm also one of the youth back in the camp. I was 18, 19, so I have I still I start I have little knowledge about how to support and share my knowledge and for my friends. So at that time, I really enjoyed like being involved with the community. So when I arrived in Australia in Bendigo, so I took every opportunity when it come on my way. Yeah. Also because of my senior community members also supported me. I also take the risk and step in to to do things to participate and involve more in my community.
Fantastic, well done. So just while we're on the theme of community leadership and young women stepping up and having a voice, we thought we would incorporate a new video which has just been released today for International Women's Day, made in our local community by Loddon Mallee Women's Health. So it's a short 5-minute video profiling some other young women community leaders, and of course Ma Aye Paw works for Loddon Mallee Women's Health as well, so it all connects. But we're on a slightly different theme and topic now. We're on climate change.
I'm Emma, I'm 18 and I'm from Mildura.
I'm Neve, I'm 19 and I'm originally from Castlemaine on Jajirangal country.
I'm Yamini, 18 and from Bendigo.
I always remember water being a super scarce product, and like when it rained being like, oh my god, it's raining, because it didn't rain that much when I grew up, which is kind of crazy to think about because that was when I was really young, and obviously after that it flooded quite a bit.
You've seen the impact on the community, you've seen the financial impact, and most importantly, the impact on people's mental well-being. So you've had the farmers, the community, the children, parents, and women. They've all had a big toll to their mental health, and you've seen increased rates of suicide, increased rates of depression and anxiety, just from the environmental changes that have caused financial discomfort.
A prime example of that would be my mom. She does a lot of community work and mainly helping people settle, whether they might have immigrated or new to the country, students, anyone. And she just helps them with the new challenges that they face. And that's very small things which a lot of women do, which is not recognized.
Yeah, I think those like unrecognized strengths are super, super key in like a power women hold in their leadership. And that like unsaid empathy to help others is super important.
Definitely within my community too, there have been young women who have organised school strikes independently, and online they would receive a lot of hate from older generations for that. And even through that, she's persevered, she's still kept going. She hasn't let it affect her in any way, and she's remained resilient the entire time. And that definitely demonstrates, like you were saying, kind of that undercover courage that not a lot of people recognise, but it's definitely there and it's definitely evident, and it's definitely a demonstration of their leadership.
Access to education, while it doesn't seem like a climate problem, is actually something that stems from climate change. I think that's super important to think about gender inequality.
And it's also the unseen work that women do, because they are more of the throughout the house, basically, most of the time. And there's a lot more unseen work going on because of climate change. It just increases and adds more burden, and that's where inequality increases. Because slowly over time, you wouldn't see it, but there's a lot more responsibilities and a lot more challenges towards getting an education or providing a safe and stable home for everyone.
And with that, even when young women do speak up, there's also commonly a misconception and like a negative response. We've seen that with Greta Thunberg and the negative media responses to her activism. So it's disencouraging a lot of young women to actually speak out on issues that do affect them.
But then again, like, you know, it, like the media and like people shame a lot of young women for speaking out and like don't recognize the burden of the inequality. But the more continuously we do speak out together, it does also encourage more young women around us to speak out. And I think that's super cool.
Yeah, just making, you know, our everyday practices more sustainable. So even if we just listen and gain the knowledge and traditional practices from First Nations people, because they do have a greater understanding of what native flora and fauna are going to help different regions and how it's able to maintain and be more sustainable and encourage the larger growth of the environment and encourage, you know, native fauna to come back, and then that's going to encourage more growth, and that's going to encourage vegetation, and it's just going to be this big cycle, and it's just going to create improvement.
Yeah, and that also ties in with the small things that we do, like using a lot of electricity, water, and buying sustainable as well. It's just reducing the unsustainable habits we have, and which increases in waste and climate change and just the building up of everything we do.
I want people to listen to me, and I want people to listen to people around me, people being affected by this crisis first.
We are a different generation. We have different issues to the previous generations, different challenges and different mindsets.
Exactly, and this common misconception that young people, we're immature, we're not wise enough, we don't have the knowledge, but we do have the same experiences as them. We're growing up in the same world as them, in the same environment, and we have concerns, we have opinions, we have fears towards our changing climate, and that's why we want to be heard. We want to use our voices to make change because it is affecting us. So there needs to be a conversation between two different generations with what we need from each other.
100%, that conversation really needs to flow like seamlessly, and like you're right, like people shouldn't be afraid to have that conversation and say, like, what can you do, how can we help, and like I want all generations to stand in solidarity with us, but then again it's also like I want them to act, and it's not our responsibility to make the change. Yes, with the younger generation, and we have a lot of the ideas, and we are dealing with most of the effects, and I want them to ask us how we're feeling, exactly as you were saying, but I also want them to ask us what they can do.
Yeah, I think it comes with everybody being worried about change, especially since it's a newer generation who will be living and who will be making more changes. We need innovation, and that's why we need to start talking more and doing more and interacting with each other of different generations.
Ask us about our fears and hopes for the future.
Ask us how you can be a part of the solution.
Ask us how we can be involved in decision making.
Ask us how to make innovation stronger.
Ask us how to achieve diversity.
Ask us how to stand in solidarity.
Wow, what an inspiring video. So, thinking of your own experience, Ma Aye, and also seeing that video, what does good leadership mean to you?
Yeah, in my experience as a video, I would say that young people also have has knowledge and the ability to do things, so that they, compared to the previous generation, yeah they both generation must to have to work together, and the previous generation should support the young people, because young people are the future leader. They learn and that they grow, and that they will be the next generation who are the leader. That for to me also the good leadership to me the good leaders must have resilience, commitment, loyalty, and respect. Um, and on top of that, love, because our words need more love. It's already too much hatred and yeah, words. Yeah. Thank you.
That's perfect. I think that's so right. We need a lot more love in our world. So, do you have any tips for young women wanting to be community leaders?
Yes, I would say that have vision, have faith in yourself and follow your dreams. Because yeah, it doesn't matter what gender you are, so you can be anything you want. You can choose any pathway, any career you want to be. So of course, our community needs more leaders. So not leader can be male or female or male. Everybody can be a leader. As at least we try.
And that ties nicely into the quote, "I can be what I want to be," doesn't it? So can you tell us a bit more about the gender roles in the Karen community, and what do you think International Women's Day means to Karen women and to you as well?
That's a good question. Yeah, from the decades, I think the gender roles in the community is similar to the diverse and the people from a different background. Like women have to a woman has to be a good housewife and a good wife, a good mother. But nowadays, men and women they have they have more knowledge and they are open mind now. They know that we can share responsibility, treat each other with respect each other opinion, even not at the same different things can cannot mean enemy, or we are so individually have a different opinion and different sides. So I think to me, especially the women to if they are experiencing like domestic violence, any type of domestic violence, for example, physical or verbal abuse, to speak out, to seek for help, because you are. I would say that you are not alone. There's people out there who can support you. Yeah.
Well, thank you. And to change the topic a bit, what was the hardest and the best thing about being in Bendigo for you?
Well, I will start with best thing first. I'm happy where I'm in now. Bendigo is my home. Yes, I'm coming to Australia. I met a lot of my bento and surrounded myself with beautiful people who always guide me and support me. In my workplace, I also have health practitioner and my bilingual worker who always support me and we support one another. Yeah, that's the best thing being in Bendigo for me. For the best things is I'm going to say learning English. I'm still struggling, but I'm improving, but still struggling, because comparing myself to my English friends when we study, I have to take twice alone. yeah. Also, probably you might know or not. Back in our country, there's still civil war. We feel real bad for our our community back in the country, my relative, because it's not safe, still not safe for them. Thousands of my Korean people still suffer and flee, have to escape for the the Burmese military, their awful and hopelessness actions. Not only my Korean people, also other ethnicities face it the same way, the same things. But for us, I think we have suffered for the longest compared to other ethnicities. It's now about more than 70 years, 70 years for Korean and the Burmese conflict wars back in our country.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's really important for us to hear. So thank you.
Thank you. We're coming to the end, so please get those questions ready. But we've got one more little question which goes the other way. We thought it might be interesting to hear Ma Aye Paw ask Sophie a question about integration of young people from migrant backgrounds into Australian culture. So back to you girls.
Sophie, I have one question for you. So the question is, do you have any ideas about how young people from refugee and migrant backgrounds can be welcomed and socialize more with young people who were born in Australia?
Thank you for that question, Ma Aye Paw. I think something that's really important is certainly awareness. I know I've been personally quite ignorant to a lot of the cultures and the vibrancy of a lot of the cultures in Bendigo. So I think starting with awareness and facilitating more awareness, especially in the youth in our community, can be really helpful. And if you guys do go back and watch that video, there's a very good example of one of the guys talks about a game called the Cane Ball. Is that it? Yeah, Cane Ball. And I think, you know, things like sport and stuff like that can be really awesome ways for kids to connect. You know, it's the same level and they're learning from each other and they're having fun together. So I think stuff like that can be really important.
Yes, I agree with you, Sophie. The sport can bring people together. Yeah.
Thank you to you both. And of course, we believe very much in the power of shared story to help bridge and build understanding in our communities, which is why we run sessions like this. So thank you for making the time to come. Notable absence of men, sadly, in the audience. I did send the invitation to the Bendigo Youth Council, and they have quite a lot of young men, and the response was, oh yes, there's a young woman who might be interested in coming to that. And I wrote back and said, bring all the young men too, please. Anyway, sadly they had youth council meeting tonight, so they couldn't come, but that they send their best. So we would love to, if you've got any questions for Ma Aye Paw, now is your opportunity.
I can ask one. Hey, my name's Charlie. Really nice to meet you. You sound like you've got your plate incredibly full with all of the different things you do for other people and for your community. What do you do for yourself? How do you relax? How do you have a good time?
Thanks for your question, Charlie. Yes, sometimes it is something is we happiness not only take it, it's a give it as well. So yeah, we sometimes it can be exhausted with life, with everything. Sometimes I have to want to give up. Was yes, sometimes the thoughts come to my mind, but I couldn't give up. I have my family and my community and myself. So I keep myself moving. Yeah.
Great question, a very important one for
Something
community
I fail at
leaders.
all the time, so I ask it all the time.
Yeah, thank you, and great answer too, Ma Aye Paw, thanks. Anyone else?
I'm Margaret, and I've been admiring your top and the top that these girls also have. Is there much handiwork in the Korean community, or I mean, clearly they're beautiful, different things that we've not seen before. So is it readily available here for a start, or are you having to make things yourselves?
Thanks, Margaret, for your question. Yes, we have different colors and beautiful top. It's all available in the Bedigo. There's our current community member who are selling the clothes. If you want to get one, I can present to you. I can buy for and present and give it to you. Also the tops regard to our current top, we have, because we have 11 tribes. We dress differently. We have like slightly different language when we speak, the dialect. I mean, but the most common people speak is Bokuran and Skokuran, but I can speak both and read and write. In the past, traditionally, we young single, they have to wear dress. The top only when women's they marriage. They turn into the marriage hood. They wear the black top and the long sleeve. The long skirt is black. Red.
And no embroidery, or when once is married, do you have embroidery too? When you do the weaving, do you have the patterns?
Yes, different pattern.
Different patterns.
Yeah.
That's interesting. And could I just also ask about language? I noticed on the video what looks to us very complicated writing. I admire you greatly. How are you managing writing English?
That's a good question. It's interesting coming to the language. We have different Carleton writes the language. I mean, also in the around the world we have so many languages. How do we manage? I think because we're to learn because English is the international language, so everyone learn and speak. To keep our culture and language to keep our culture and language alive, it's our current people responsibility to keep our culture and the language alive. Yeah.
Thank you. Hello, Debbie's my name. I was interested in, now you're talking about language, what opportunities are there in Bendigo for young Korean children and young adults, or even adults who haven't had a chance to read or write? Is there a school here where people can go? And who teaches there, and how does it operate?
Thank you for your question. Sorry, I didn't quite get your name.
It's Deb.
Deb, thank you. Yeah, as I mentioned before, we reopened our language school on Saturday. Did I mention? I forget. Sorry. Yeah. So everyone is welcome. We have at the moment we only have one teacher. In the past 2 years ago, myself also had support with teaching the language, but not this year. If there's on Saturday we have to enroll like about 30. We will have more because some of the family parents ring us and ask us like, can we stay enroll our children to attend the language school? Yeah, of course they are welcome. In the Bedigo, in high school, I'm not quite sure. Probably they have the correct subject like they do with Fican or FCE, something like that. Yeah. Also there's language something in Victoria, but the project people in Melbourne they have they have like grades 1 to 10 or something, but not in Bedigo. We just newly established with our language school. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yes,
I
go.
have a question for Sophie. With like the integration of like the different cultures and stuff and like trying to bring them into the community, I want, because you said awareness, like I just want to know where you kind of want that to start and how you're gonna, like not necessarily you specifically, but what's the best way to kind of make everyone aware of the awareness that they need to have about that?
Thank you, Scarlett. That's a fabulous question. I think, well, the greatest way to reach large numbers of kids is through schools. And already schools are doing a lot better at raising awareness for the other cultures and, lots of things. And I think that's a great way to start. At my school, I go to Girton, we have quite a few Karen students. But I think giving opportunities for those students to show us their culture or to integrate their culture with our learning would be a really good way to start. And yeah, through schools I think is a good way to do it. Yeah. Thank you.
You should see the video of the young people playing cane ball. Any Australian young person would be super impressed and intimidated by their skills with that ball, I tell you what.
I think that's how I would be integrated.
Thanks, good question. Anyone else?
I've just got a comment rather than a question. So, and it's kind of along Sophie's line that I have the fortunate to be able to have Ma Aye Paw in my office one day a week. So our awareness is embracing the culture in our workspace, and I love it when we hold an event and Ma Aye Paw always brings me a selection of Korean food, so we embrace it in our workplace as well. So, it's a great pleasure to work with Ma Aye Paw.
Thank you. Thanks, Sally. That's lovely.
That spurred a question from me because I'm all about my belly and I'm getting hungry. Can you describe some traditional Korean dishes? Like, what's your favourite food? Your favourite dish?
My favorite dish. Well, spicy.
Yeah.
Because our like older generation we love cooking like curry with chili with yellow powder. Taste salt and spicy and so many flavor we add in the curry. Yeah. Sorry,
Sounds good.
am I answering your question? Sorry.
You'll have to come
Clearly
along
not
to
a cook, right?
you'll have to come along to a Korean
I'm going
community
to.
event and taste some. They have. Do you want to tell us about the wrist tying ceremony and the Korean New Year, where there might be opportunities for people to join in?
Yes, we normally celebrate our Korean New Year. Sometimes in December, sometimes in January, because we to relate to our Korean calendar. If you come, you will definitely get to try our food. You will get to see our beautiful Korean dancing performance and the music and socialize and come and everyone's welcome to participate and enjoy. If about Korean Restrict Ceremony, we celebrated in August. We also have dance, music, food. Yeah.
Thank you. Sounds great. Keep an eye out. Oh, Catherine. Yep.
Catherine, thank you for all of the work that you do. I think that's really important to acknowledge, like the contribution that you make here. Even broader than just being here tonight telling your story. It's quite a marvelous thing and has been very inspiring. Can I ask just a question to both of you, I guess, to both Sophie as well. I'm interested to know what is what is community to you? Like, what is your description of community? And what do you see? How do you see women as leaders in the future? What do you think is the role of women in community moving forward?
Yes, thanks, Catherine, for your question. I will try my best to answer your question. I would say that in the community, it doesn't matter to do with gender role. Male, female or male can must have together, like working to make community. How is it? First of all, in the house, parents, husband and wife, to keep the relationship in the family to be a happy family. They both have a responsibility. So, which is I would say the same things in the community. Male, female, or male must have equal equal right to do things to make our community live able.
Yeah, I agree. To me, community is about people and doing things for people and helping other people. So in terms of women leaders in the future, I think there'll be a lot more transformative leadership, which is, bringing other people along for the journey as well and incorporating everyone's needs as well and the planet's needs. And I'm really excited to see the future of the community and the vibrancy that we have here in Bendigo as well.
Oh, what a perfect note to finish on. Thank you both. Thank you, Catherine. That was a great question and beautiful answers from you both too. And I'd like to reiterate Catherine's acknowledgement of you, Ma Aye. You're such an incredible and inspiring young woman. And I think you represent your community and your culture beautifully. I'm sure the work that you do means a lot to them, but it also means an awful lot to the wider Bendigo community and beyond. And I hope you get many, many more opportunities to share your voice and your story and your thoughts, because you're also a very wise and intelligent and open-hearted woman, and I think the world needs to hear more from you. So I hope this is just the beginning of your community leadership journey, and that it continues, and I'm sure it will. And on behalf of Bendigo Library or Goldfields Libraries, thank you all very much for coming. And this is just one of many awesome events that we run at the libraries. So if you haven't already seen our program for the autumn season, grab one on your way out. There's a bunch here and also on the table up behind, and tell all your friends, because we're always keen to have particularly new people into our libraries, those who don't already know what goes on in modern libraries and don't already access all the many services and programs and events and things that we run. So let everybody know, and thanks for coming. And we're going to close with this very beautiful video that was made by the Intercultural Ambassadors during COVID. So they got locked down and a lot of their activities and events had to go online like the rest of us. And so they decided to bring a bit of joy and love and music to the Bendigo community with this lovely piece. And thanks, Chris. You're a tech legend.
It's time for us, standing up for what is true, what we believe, care and love matter in our lives. It's time for us, reaching out to those in need, no matter where you do come from, one big family. Bind us all together and show care for one another. That's the reason why we're here today. You and I, bind us all together and show care for one another. That's the reason why we're here today. You and I have come from many different places. We wanna work all together, holding hand in hand. You and I together are in one accord. We wanna make a difference in the greater Bendigo. Bind us all together and show care for one another. That's the reason why we're here today. You and I bind us all together and show care for one another. That's the reason why we're here today. You and I have come from many different places. We wanna work all together, holding hand in hand. You and I together are in one accord. We wanna make a difference in the greater Bendigo. You and I have come from many different places. We wanna work all together, holding hand in hand. You and I together are in one accord. We wanna make a difference in the greater Bendigo. We wanna make a difference in the place we're living.
So that's a beautiful little video. Ma Paw, thank you so much for speaking to us today. It was really incredible, and I really appreciate you sharing your story so openly and inspiringly as well. And it's amazing as a young person in Bendigo to hear such an inspiring story and to see your leadership as well. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you too. Thanks a lot too for having me for having me this evening. Yeah.
Thank you.
We tried to pretend we were just having a coffee together. Thanks for joining us for our coffee.
Thank you.
Thank you.